Hello, you're very welcome to another edition of Fox Country. On today's programme, I'll be talking to Martin Byrne from Skerries in North County Dublin. But before that, let's have a look at Martin's video, Ireland, My Ireland.
With a tear in my eye, I will say my last goodbye, for I am going where the grass it is greener. Out of town, homeward bound, I am leaving today, to the land that I forever dream of. Ireland, my Ireland, I'm coming home. Though I roam, sure my heart never left her. O'er the dark rolling sea, she is calling to me. Oh, I'm coming back home to Ireland. When I first left my home, I wasn't trying to roam. As a boy, sure my age was just 20. With my head full of dreams, full of hopes, full of schemes, to a land that was so full of plenty. Ireland, my Ireland, I'm coming home. Though I roamed, sure my heart never left her. O'er the dark rolling sea, she is calling to me. Oh, I'm coming back home to Ireland. But my heart for my home was ever yearning, and my dreams wandered forth to the land of my birth, and the day when I would be returning. Ireland, my Ireland, I'm coming home. Though I roam, sure my heart never left her. O'er the dark rolling sea, she is calling to me. Oh, I'm coming back home to Ireland. O'er the dark rolling sea, she is calling to me. Oh, I'm coming back home to Ireland.
Martin, you're very welcome to Fox Country. Good to have you with us today.
Thanks very much, Michael, for having me along. I'm delighted to be here.
It's great.
Okay.
Now, let's go right back, and I'm going to ask you, when did you first become involved in music, and what were your influences?
Well, from a musical point of view, I've always been listening to music. My earliest memories are listening to music on the radio growing up, and always wanting to sing and to learn songs. Even back as far as the days of Val Doonigan. Walk Tall was one of my early favourites
Big hit
as a child. But after that, it wasn't until later on, when I grew up another little bit, when I got into singing and wanted to perform and wanted to sing, and got a guitar, as the saying goes, and learned a few chords, and off we went and did a few gigs. So I've been involved on and off from humble beginnings, shall we say, right up to the present day.
And were your family musical? Is there a musical pedigree there?
No, there's no musical pedigree there. My mother said that one of her aunties played a bit of accordion back in the day, but there's no. And I had an uncle, of course, who was a very good singer. I always thought would have maybe made it as a singer, but he would sing when he had a few jars on him. That was the extent of his performances. But he was quite a good singer. Yeah, he was quite a good singer.
So you started gigging. What types of gigs, venues were you doing?
Pubs, to be honest with you, at the start, pubs, bars, anywhere that would have me. In the beginning, it was nearly all folk and ballad. We were living in the golden age of the Dubliners and the Furies.
That's right.
Paddy Riley, and Johnny McAvoy is a fantastic songwriter and performer as well. But they would have been the ones I was listening to.
Yeah. And have you always played as a solo artist, or did you get involved with bands at all at any stage?
No, I've never been involved with a band. I've strictly been a one-man band. In the early days, it was just me and my guitar, acoustic and live. But in latter days, with the advent of more technology and iPads and backing tracks now, I can actually call myself a one-man band.
Yes.
We have a big sound just from...
Yeah. Even the one man or the one girl band these days, you have to have the big sound.
You have to have the big sound, and people expect it. But it's so easy to get. There's tracks that becoming better and better, there's no excuse for anyone now with second-hand tracks. So we say that tongue in cheek, of course.
Yes, yeah. And were you travelling far and wide, or were you?
No, in the beginning, no, I wouldn't have travelled too far. There was no need to travel far at that stage. In the early days, there was every pub. The pub scene was vibrant at the time, and
of course,
every pub.
You're from Skerries in North County Dublin, so there were quite a lot of venues around.
Quite a lot of venues between Balbriggan, Rush, Lusk, Skerries itself. Like you wouldn't have to travel far to fill your calendar, shall we say?
So the gigging eventually led you to recording.
Yes, we eventually, like everybody else, I suppose, went along the musical road, and one day decided to record. I think the desire to record came with the songwriting. As I say, a friend of mine turned up in the house one day and said that he'd written a song and it was about to be recorded, and that sparked off an interest. Not being big-headed, but I said, well, sure, I could do that. Like,
anything you could do, I can do better.
Julie grabbed the pen and the notebook and began to write songs, and lo and behold, they actually turned out to be bona fide songs. So then found myself with a number of songs, and like, as I say, like everybody, wanted to record and get at least one CD or album out there to just.
And how did you get your inspiration for your songwriting? Were there any particular themes that were of interest to you, or? No,
in the beginning I wrote about what I seen. I lived just outside the town of Skerries, and from my house you can see right across Skerries and Rockabill and Lighthouse and up to the Mourne Mountains, and I constantly see the fishing fleet at that point. Skerries still had fishing boats, and my first song was All the Little Boats, and I used to watch the boats coming and going in the morning and the evening. And that was the inspiration. After that, it's just what you see and what you heard.
And did the songwriting come easy to you? Could you write a line and the next line just flowed? Or
I have to say, yes. The songwriting came easy in the beginning. All the good ideas, anyway. Yeah. But I was I was blessed in a way that I could recall lines. I didn't have to go writing down lines all the time. If I taught 4 lines in the afternoon, I still would have them in my head that night or the next day. So I could practically write a whole song in my head without having to commit it to paper. So
right. That's quite unique, I think.
Well, all good songwriters write in their head, Michael.
Yeah.
So I've been told by the people in Nashville anyway.
Yes, I know some artists I talk to say, I write it down the back of an envelope or.
Well, that works too. I wouldn't.
A business card or something.
I wouldn't count that out. That works as well.
Yeah, just so you capture the line and you don't forget it. And
absolutely, yeah. But generally speaking, you need to have a bigger picture of the story of where it's going and where it's coming from.
Yes.
So
you wrote a few songs. You then recorded a few singles.
No, we didn't actually record any singles in the beginning. The first thing we did was just recorded the full album.
That's quite an achievement.
And the first album, the My Ireland album, was a complete original album, all my own songs, 11 tracks, with various different titles from, as I say, from what I seen, and then being into the folk and ballad, seeing it was easy to pick subjects, so I picked people, and I wrote a song about Tommy Makem after he passed away. I wrote a song about Thomas Ashe, who was a great historical figure, and then Patrick Kavanagh, who was a great poet, and I found a lot of inspiration in reading about these people's lives, so I wrote songs about them, and of course the usual ones about emigration and the different
Yeah.
the different bits and pieces. So
Yeah.
that formed the basis of the My Ireland album.
And of course, immigration as a theme runs through so much of our music and song, doesn't it?
Absolutely, there's been songs about immigration been going for a long time. And let's face it, we're a small island, and everybody talks about the famine and the dark days and the different times, and they were bad. We've constant immigration. People are moving all the time to better themselves and go to
Yeah.
America. I suppose at one point there was immigration was meant that you weren't coming back. Fortunately for the people leaving today, there's always a way back, and it's much easier. And we all have people and friends and family all over the world.
So your first album came out in, what year was that?
Oh, I'd have to check the date on that one now, Michael. 2009, I think.
2009, yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, you continued with your songwriting. And,
Continued with the songwriting, and then took a left turn a little bit towards country, as they say. I've always loved country and listened, and hugely influenced by country, especially American country. But decided maybe to do another album, and we moved more towards Irish country, for the want of a better word.
Was that reflecting the fact maybe you were on the dancing scene, playing for social dancing? And
I probably had one eye on the
Yeah.
dancing scene and what was going on locally as well. So
Yeah.
I said, well, maybe we'd have a go at a country album, country and Irish, I would call it.
Yeah.
And so set about writing a few songs, fresh songs for that.
Well, Martin, you have another video we're going to have a look at. Would you like to introduce it?
This is the video for A Long, Long Way from Ireland. As I say, it's a song about immigration, tinged with sadness about a man who has to leave home to work. He falls on hard times when he gets away, but he manages to pick himself up. But it has an effect on him, and he feels in himself that he can't go home until he's got himself righted and things. And of course, eventually, he doesn't really make it back. So it is a little bit sad, but it's called A Long, Long Way from Ireland. It's a beautiful little waltz, so I hope the viewers and the people will enjoy it.
Okay, let's have a look at it.
Thank you very much.
On the day that I left home, my mother held my hand. She said, "May God go with you and keep you safe and strong. For where the road may lead you, take pride in what you do. And when you're tired of rambling, I'll be waiting here for you. I'm a long, long way from Ireland, on the fields of Athenry, on a lonely city sidewalk, where the world goes passing by. I still see the turf smoke rising, though a tear bedims my eye. I'm a long, long way from Ireland and the fields of Athenry. Punching clocks and concrete blocks, working all the day. But the curse of beer and whiskey soon led me astray. I went from building bridges to sleeping on the street. I can't go home to my mother till I get back on my feet. I'm a long, long way from Ireland, on the fields of Athenry, on a lonely city where the world goes passing by. I still see the turf smoke rising, though a tear bedims my eye. I'm a long, long way from Ireland and the fields of Athenry. Now I drive to make a living, sometimes hear stories of home. The memories still haunt me, leaving my mother alone. I never got to make it back, though God knows how I tried. And she died broken hearted round the fields of Athenry. I'm a long, long way from Ireland and the fields of Athenry, on a lonely city sidewalk where the world goes passing by. I still see the turf smoke rising, though a tear bedims my eye. I'm a long, long way from Ireland and the fields of Athenry. I'm a long, long way from Ireland and the fields of Athenry, on a lonely city sidewalk where the world goes passing by. I still see the turf smoke rising, though a tear bedims my eye. I'm a long, long way from Ireland and the fields of Athenry. I'm a long, long way from Ireland and the fields of Athenry.
Well, Martin, that's a lovely video, a lovely song indeed.
Thank you very
and
much.
a very sad song, as you
It
said.
is, as I say, tinged with
Yeah.
sadness, but
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah, the
just-
longing was there, but he never made it back home.
the longing was there, I think. Yeah, it was funny actually writing that because it came very quickly over the course of a weekend,
Mm.
and I always remember when I sat down, I think probably on the Monday, and had a look over what I'd actually written, and I realised that I knew the person in the song. We had a cousin who went away, and he made it back, but struggled a
Mm.
bit to make it back. And wherever I go around the country and tell people about the story of the song and the writing, they always connect with the song.
They can relate to it.
They can relate to it
Yes.
actually, because obviously even down here in your country, and the further you get away from Dublin, there was more and more immigration, and harder for people to make it back.
Indeed, all the Western
And all the
counties,
Western
particularly.
counties, yeah. So yeah, that proved to be very popular, and as I say, people could connect with it straight away.
Yeah. And all the songs on the album, were they all self-written again?
No, the second album we took a slightly different. So I decided to do a few covers. So we did a couple of covers to The Olive Finish Free and Danny Boy, the old reliables. And it turned out to be a nice mix of new and old. I found that some people were looking at your album and they were interested in finding something maybe that they knew beforehand. So yeah, that's why we put a few standards into it. And,
it always helps to sell an album, doesn't it? If,
well, it does from a point of view of selling, but I
Yeah.
suppose it gives me a chance to do other people's songs as well.
of course, yeah.
And makes it more interesting, and I found that quite gratifying and satisfying to be able to do a good cover of someone else's song.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to release another album this year, if not early next year. I have a few singles that I'd like to put on it. I have one single out at the moment called Waltz Around the Kitchen, which I'm very fond
That's
of.
a nice title.
I wrote it with my mother. I was talking to her one night and we were just reminiscing over times gone by, and it's a throwback to the dancing in the small houses.
Of course, the country kitchen was great place for music, wasn't it? Music and dancing and singing.
Absolutely,
and crack,
absolutely. It was, and when you look back at the size of the houses and the size of the kitchens, you wonder how anybody could dance or fit into them. But they did, and they got their entertainment and enjoyment from that. And it's
well, they pushed back the table and the chairs,
back everything.
And if you had a stone flag kitchen, it was great for the sound as well, wasn't it?
It was great, super.
Yeah.
And somebody could always play an accordion or a melodeon, as they were called then, or a fiddle. And they were happy with what they had, and it worked great.
Concert flute or something.
Or something like that. So waltz around the kitchen, as I say, is a throwback to those days.
Yeah.
So
you're writing songs for the new album at the moment, apart
still
from
writing,
that?
still writing. I have a few other tracks that maybe get into the studio and get them demoed and recorded.
Yeah.
I have a duet with Louise Morrissey that I would like to get on the new album as well. It didn't feature on the last album. Louise has it on her album, but I'd like to get it on mine. So, The Roses in My Garden, you may have
that's a lovely song.
come across that one.
Duets are very popular at the moment, I find. That
they are, and that's something actually that I might consider for the new album, is doing another duet with somebody.
Yes.
Anybody.
We'll find somebody for you,
We'll
Martin.
find somebody, Michael. Okay, there's always somebody.
Yeah. Let's talk about the gigs. What sort of gigs and venues are you doing now?
Well, a mixture,
year?
whatever comes along, from pubs and hotels to a bit of social dancing. Do a lot of private parties as well.
Yeah.
A lot of parties for people maybe, shall we say, of an elderly nature, who get it.
In the senior quadrant.
The senior quadrants.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
lots of various different things.
Yeah. You're actually reflecting there the way the scene has changed for working musicians in Ireland, whereas a few years ago it was very much pub-based and hotel-based. Now it's...
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the pubs are suffering a bit, I'm afraid, and the people are not going anymore. But social dancing is vibrant, and people who want to have a party, want to have a bit of dancing.
That's right.
And being a one-man band, you can supply everything. You're not killing
with the big sound, of course.
With the big sound, and you're not killing people with the noise either.
Exactly.
So I think I'd find a lot of people would take that into consideration a lot.
They do.
When they're looking at a one-man band.
Yeah, and it's nice when people come up afterwards and say, you weren't too loud.
Absolutely, we could have a conversation, which is very important if people get together for a social occasion. Very important. So we fill all, we cross all the fill all the boxes, as they say.
Yes. And are you gigging mainly around the Dublin area at the moment, or are you travelling?
No, I'm travelling a bit further, as I said. I don't have the luxury of having the gigs on my own doorstep anymore, so I travel as far as the Midlands, and there's Carlow, Kilkenny, and up as far as Cavan, Monaghan as well. So, I've even been over here a few times as well, Michael.
Well, and you're always very welcome to this part of the world.
West of the Shannon.
West of the Shannon. Well, Martin, I've enjoyed our chat today, and we're delighted that you could take time out and come and see us on Fox Country. And on behalf of our viewers and myself, can we wish you every success with your musical career and the songwriting, and we look forward very much to your new album.
It's been a pleasure being here, Michael, and thanks very much for the opportunity to be on your show. I'd like to wish all the best to your viewers. And sure, I'll maybe see you on the road somewhere along the journey. It's all the journey, I say, so maybe I'll see you on the journey. Thank you very much.
We will. You're very welcome. Thanks, Martin.
Thank you.
My thanks again to Martin for joining me on today's programme, and thanks also to you for watching. On next week's programme, I'll be talking to Mary Prendergast from County Waterford, and I hope that you can join me for that. Until then, slán.